Scrolling through listings, looking for a deal. Found a shiny promise, thought it was real. Clicking on the pictures, my heart's on a spree. Up behind the bright lights, oh, what do I see? You package your eyes, my excitement sky high. But when I unwrap it, I'm met with a sigh. What's this in my hands? It's nothing like they sold. A tale of deception wrapped up in cold. They fuck you on eBay. That's the game.
So this is a VHS machine by JVC, and it's probably the top of the line as far as bells and whistles that they ever had. Some people might recognize this one already. You might recognize that. HD TV. This is a WVHS. Baseband high definition and standard definition. Never seen one of these before. This is the first one I've laid eyes on. I don't think there was too many of these things. This one came from Calgary. I don't think there was too many of these sold in Canada. We'll take a look at the inputs and outputs on the back, and we'll see what's wrong with it and whether I can make this thing work. A good chance I can't because I've never seen one before, but we'll see. But let's look at the connectors on the back. Of course, it's got your standard connectors. Line in 1, line in 2, both composite and S-video, and line out 1 and line out 2. But it also has, in addition to that, it has component inputs. HD video. Y, PB, PR. And it says HD from camera or WVHS. And it's got the audio out and the component video out as well. And of course it's got HD video out for RGB for display. So that would plug into like a computer monitor, or I could probably plug it into this plasma TV because it has an RGB input. But I could also connect it up to my monitor using that. If this thing works, I'm going to actually hook it up to an HD camera using component, and we'll see what it does. But I don't know anything about this unit. All I know is it was sent to me and it apparently does not work. So before I even plug it in, I'm going to pop the top off it so we can get a look at this bad boy and see what makes it different than the other regular machines. Get a kick out of this sticker. Caution, do not put anything on top of this unit. Yeah, it's got a bit going on here, doesn't it? Look at the drum. The drum motor's on the top. Oh, that doesn't sound good. What is it dragging on? That does not sound good, and it doesn't spin like it should. Oh, that's loose. Why is this loose? Could that be the problem? That is loose. Let's power it up and see what happens. See if we get smoke. Okay, I've given it power, but it has no power. It's dead. Yeah, the display and everything's dead. So this has a power supply problem for starters. I'm just looking to see if there's no buttons that are in the wrong position. But everything looks good, there's no power. So let's check out the power supply. Got the meter going. Where's a good ground? That's probably good ground over here. Just see if this is this grounded? Okay, so the chassis is grounded. Okay, so I can measure to the chassis. Let's just look and see if there's any voltages on any of the pins coming off the power supply. First thing. Minus 20 volts, so the power supply is not dead. Not completely dead anyway. There's a negative 20 supply there, which is going to be for probably the display. There's 12 volts. 0, 0, 0. I should see a 5-volt supply, and I'm not. So, okay, there's an 8-volt supply there. 0, 0, 0, 2, 2.1. I don't know what these are supposed to be, but I would expect 18 volts. I would expect that somewhere along the line here there's going to be a 5-volt supply. And I'm not seeing a 5-volt supply. And I'm pretty sure that there probably is supposed to be a 5-volt supply coming off of here. I see an ICP here, but there's 0 volts on both sides of that, so that's not where it's open. Okay, I guess I gotta pull the power block out of this thing and just kind of try to go through it and see if I can spot anything that looks like it's not correct. Knowing nothing about these units, I don't have a manual for it. I don't even know where I would begin to look for a manual. I would have thought hi-fi engine, but since I have not been able to access any files on there for a while, I don't know what's going on with that website. I heard rumors that they got tired of people downloading their stuff and uploading it to other sites that were charging money, and that they took their files away, and they have not reinstated any yet. Alright, got all the screws out, including the hidden one that was down there, and the power supply should just lift right out. There we go. And there it is. Gotta study this for a minute and see what it's doing, what all the voltages are. I'm assuming there should be a 5-volt supply somewhere, but again, I don't know much about these things. Never seen one before, so you guys are seeing it for the first time like I am. Looks like that capacitor's been replaced. In fact, that's broken. That board is broken right there. Look at this. I wonder if that's got something to do with it. Where are we here? Right next to that D4A. That trace is broken. That's for starters. Well, let's fix that first. I mean, that's a ground connection. We're going to fix that up. I'll probably put a little piece of wire in place of where it's broken, just so that it doesn't break again. I don't know that this is what's causing the problem with the power supply not working properly, but it certainly is not going to do it any good when the negative terminal to one of the filters is open. There. Now that connection's good. We'll power it up again and see if anything lights up. It's gonna move the power supply away from the rest of the unit so nothing shorts out. Kind of set it over here, I guess, and I'll give it power. Power on. Oh! I saw something flash on the screen. It's turning on. Alright. And now it's off. Okay, I guess that was the problem with the power supply. Now it's turning on. You guys can't see it, but trust me, it's on. I don't want this to fall into anything, but the display is lit, as you can see. The display wasn't lit before, so good. Let's put the power supply back, put the shield on it, and put the power supply back into the chassis, and that way we can test the unit out and see whether it's going to do anything. Put that back in there, and then this cover went over top of it. Oh, you know what? That was me. That was me that tore that cover off. It was soldered down on here, and I didn't even see it when I popped the top off. Oh well, extra shielding, not needed. Just ground. Not needed. Stupid design. We'll fix that later, once I verify that everything's working. And for you guys that are worried that I'm not grounding it, yes, it's grounded. The unit has power. Operate turns it on. what's going to happen. Oh, that makes lots of noise. And yeah, the picture looks like shit. Yeah, it doesn't look very good, does it? I think it's got to do with that drum motor coming loose. Still not stable. Oh, anything else on that tape? It's well, I'll show you the picture. Something's going on with this, but the drum is still not stable. It feels like it looks like it's, well, it's shaking. It looks like it's shaking side to side. You see, not very stable at all. Something in the back here. This whole bracket is loose. This whole bracket is loose. I wonder if it's just screws that are loose in the back. I can see some screws back down here. I don't know if it's just them that are loose or what the problem is. Let's see if I can tighten them down. That's not going to work. I'll find a screwdriver that's a little bit longer. See if I can tighten down these screws because they appear to be loose. Okay, now they're tighter. Still making a racket. You can still hear. It sounds like it actually sounds like a bearing is shot on the drum. That's what it sounds like. This arm's got a bend in it, and it almost looks like somebody put something heavy on top of it and the top leaned in. They got this little dimple on the top for the extra clearance for the top of the drum motor, but it looks like that may have hit and bent, and I wonder if it's done some damage. This might have been damaged in shipping. I wonder if something has damaged the bearing on here. That noise you hear is coming from this. The ground electrode. That looks pretty badly worn. If we look at the top of the electrode, it's worn down to nothing. I wonder how it looks without this. Let's power it up and see. It's hunting. The drum is hunting. It's not locking in. The speed is going up and down ever so slightly. There's color bars on the plasma, and the CRT also shows bad color bars. TBC. I wonder if it's the TBC that's causing it. Let's try switching it. Oh, looks better. Looks a lot better. The time-based corrector is foobar. Turned on. Yep, TBC's got a problem. Okay, where the hell is the TBC on this thing? I'm sure it's probably this big module that's over on the other side over here. I think that's the TBC. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. But that seems the logical place where the time-based corrector. Look at this. Circuit boards in here aren't even attached. Look at this thing. Like, what the hell is this? Just a circuit board that's just kind of stuffed in there? What is this one? Video switch PCB. It's not attached to anything. It's just sitting in there. There's no screws attaching. It's just sitting in there loose. What the hell? You know, this was a premium machine, I'm sure. I'm sure this cost a few bucks when it was new. And that's the build quality of JVC. Junk, very cheap. It's like, I guess it was supposed to sit in a track, but it's not really sitting in that track. And what's with this shit? Like, excuse my French, but what the hell is this? Oh, we'll just use one that's too big and we'll just cut it. We'll just cut it so it'll fit. I did the same thing on the other side here. Look, see? That cable plugs into here. Well, we'll just cut it and make it fit. Yeah, we don't need to get the right size one. The hell with it. Nobody will ever notice that. And we'll just take this little extra circuit board bodge board that we had to put in, and we'll just stuff it down here because nobody's ever going to see it. So we're going to eject the tape, and I'm going to remove this board, and we'll take a look inside that thing and see what's in here. So this should just unplug. I get nervous whenever I have to unplug these things because you never know whether they're going to let go or they're going to break, or maybe I'll just pull the board out without unplugging anything first, and see that this is probably full of surface mounted electrolytic caps that have all gone leaky. I guess I'm going to have to unplug this one. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to have to. And same with this one over here. I went to that little video switch. Undo that one. And these two sets of power connectors that are both the same size and have the same number of pins and are likely to get mixed up. Alright, I'm sure that this is the time-based corrector. I might be wrong, but I think I think I'm probably right. I think this is the TBC board because it's all shielded on all the sides. And there it is. Is it TBC? Does it say? Video level. And there's no surface mounted caps in this thing. But I think this is the TBC. I'm sure there's probably some caps that are bad in here. Like maybe some of these aluminum ones. I think that's an aluminum cap there. E to E level. This is video process, obviously, of some type. Whether this is the time-based corrector or not. Because there's more boards back here. Like there's more at the back. So I don't know. I'm now looking at this. This might be just a YC process. Nope, TBC. It said I can see TBC right there. So this looks like this is the time-based corrector. So it could be a timing. It could be one of the adjustments is out for timing. That's one thing it could be. It might just be out of adjustment, or it may have capacitors failing. I don't see any leak. Like I don't see any leakage, but that doesn't mean that some of these caps might be going bad. 4.7 at 50. Are those Elmas? Oh, those are Panasonic, those ones. Well, I guess we can measure and see if there's any that are starting to drift up in ESR. It's probably the best way to try to determine which ones, if any, are bad. We know the problem. There is a problem on this board. We're going to try to solve the problem on this board. Yeah, here, see. Time-based corrector. TBC. PWB. So I was right. I guessed right. I guessed this was the TBC board. And it is. Looks okay. That looks okay. That one I think is probably okay. Right beside it here. Where was it? There's a little there. Yeah, those two look okay. There's another one. We're going to see it. This one here. 9. That looks okay. A couple more up top here. We'll take a look at these ones. See, these caps, they're all looking fine. 3.6. What value is that? That's a 1 microfarad. Okay, that's fine. So the caps measure good. I wonder if it's just one of the controls is a bit out from, getting a bit dirty. And it's just not quite locking in. So I guess the next thing we'll try is we'll throw one of the covers on here, whichever one went where. hook up power to it and see if rocking these controls a bit will synchronize that. Y level, we're not going to touch that. We're not going to touch the chroma level. Is this one? Doesn't do anything. I went back and checked my notes. Here's another eBay purchase that probably should not have been purchased. So the fellow that bought it said that the seller said everything was fine, and he bought it, and it was dead. The power supply had a problem. So I resolved the power supply only to find out that this was loose and there's a problem in the time-based corrector. I just sent him an email, see what he wants to do on this, because a lot of times these TBCs, these were replaced as a unit, right? If there was a fault on it, you change the entire unit. I did measure all the caps in the circuit. They all tested good. I don't think it's a capacitor issue. It's a timing issue on here. When I turn it on, it's not locking in. So I don't know whether there's a problem with one of the chips, or is it not receiving a correct signal from the deck itself. So I don't think it's on the video board. I think the problem is in here. I say it's a bodge. This is the bodge job. This probably did leave the factory like this. I don't think anybody did that after the fact. This was JVC's way of putting this disgusting machine out. Engineers were pissed off, I guess. We got to add an extra. Just stuff it in there. Just stuff the board in there. What the hell? You know, it's a joke. As you can see, that looks great until I turn the TBC on. Then it looks like crap because the TBC is not locking. It could be a bad chip on the TBC board. I guess I could go through and disconnect caps and measure them disconnected just to make sure I'm not getting a false reading on my ESR meter. But I don't think it's a capacitor issue because the video path goes through the TBC for both. And if it was a cap that was a problem that was in the video stage, you think you would see it in both modes. I think it's a timing issue on this time-based corrector. But again, I don't know whether the timing is coming off, like whether it's picking the video off and timing to the video coming in, or whether there's an external trigger for this, because no manuals, right? No manuals for this. I did put the ground electrode back. The reason I was making so much racket is because, as I pointed out before, something landed on this or it got damaged and something pressed down and bent this arm, and I just straightened it out. And now it's not making that racket and the ground electrode is in place. So that part's good. That part's good. And this is now tight, so this doesn't move around. It was the screws down here were loose. So we're making progress on it. We just have to deal with the time-based corrector. C109 over here, the ESR is a little bit higher. It's 0.9 versus the other caps that are the same are like 0.2. It's a solid cap, I believe, this one. So like a little tantalum or aluminum cap. I'm going to change this one out just for shits and giggles. It's a 3.3. We'll just change this one out and just see if it makes any change to the symptoms that we've got. So these are these Sanyo? Oh, they're Sanyo. Yeah. These are the type of caps that caused all the problems on the old Betamax, the SL50, and 5000 series. These are the ones we had to change. We had to change all of these they're solid aluminum caps. We had to change every single one of them. So I'm going to put new one in here and just see what happens. Because this one here, the ESR is actually measuring higher than the other two that are the same. Measuring 1 ohm. And I mean, it's still, for an electrolytic cap, it's a 3.3 at 16 volts. So I mean, it should be low. I mean, it doesn't even show on my meter. 1 ohm should be okay, but just the fact that these solid caps in the past, made by Sanyo, gave problems. So we'll try this one and see whether this one changes the symptom. what I can say is I put the TBC back in with the new cap in there, and it's made absolutely no difference. So it's not that one. Even though it measured slightly higher than the others, it's not that cap. I'll test a few more caps here and just see if there's anything else that looks kind of suspicious, but that one was fine. It made no difference. A little musical interview mood here while I'm doing the work.
Scrolling late at night, looking for a deal. Found a vintage guitar, thought I made the steal. Placed a bid so high, could almost taste the wind. But when the package came, I felt the sting within. Shiny box with promises, bright like the sun. Open it up and man, what have I done? It's a cheap knockoff, not the real thing. I'm stuck with this junk, oh what a sting. They fuck you on me, babe. It's a gamble they play. Thought I was scoring, but I'm left in dismay. Wasting all my dollars for a dream that won't stay. Yeah, they fuck you on me. Scrolling late at night looking for a deal. Found a vintage guitar, thought I made the steal. Placed a bid so high, could almost taste the wind. But when the package came, I felt the sting within. Shiny box with promises, bright like the sun. Open it up and man, what have I done? It's a cheap knockoff, not the real thing. Now I'm stuck with this junk, oh what a sting. They fuck you on eBay, it's a gamble they play.
I was able to identify what these controls are because they're marked. This is the E to E level. This one is playback sync level. This one is playback video level. And this one says playback TBC. Now, these two controls didn't seem to have any effect. Well, that one wouldn't because I was on playback. But this didn't seem to have any effect when I tried tweaking it. So I'm going to reconnect this and we'll see whether I can get anything else going on here, because say all the caps, they all test fine. Everything's looking good on here. Like they're all well within the spec.
Strutting down the boulevard, scrolling with flair. Looking for a deal, but it's a buyer's despair. Wanna snag that vintage feeling oh so fine. But every click I make, it's a twisted design. Sneaky sellers lurking like shadows in the night. Promises of treasures, but boy, they ain't right. With a broken heart, I've hit that by now. Counting all my losses, can't believe this somehow. They funk you on eBay, oh what a game. With glittering pictures, they play you like a flame. I'm dancing with shadows, my wallet's in pain. They funk you on eBay. Strutting down the boulevard, scrolling with flair. Looking for a deal, but it's a buyer's despair. Wanna snag that vintage feeling, oh so fine. But every click I make, it's a twisted design. Sneaky sellers lurking like shadows in the night. Promises of treasures, but boy, they ain't right. With a broken heart, I've hit that by now. Counting all my losses, can't believe this somehow. They funk you on eBay, oh what a game. With glittering pictures, they play you like a flame. I'm dead.
Okay, enough of that. That's AI generated, by the way. I'm just going to try tweaking, looking on my monitor here, my CRT monitor. I'm just going to try tweaking that one here and see whether anything happens. Because something's on this board is up. See, that one has absolutely no effect whatsoever. Nothing's going on with that control. It's dead, Jim. It's dead. That should be affecting the input to the TBC, and it's not doing anything. This other one over here is the TBC sync. And that one does have an effect. It just doesn't lock in right. If I turn it one way, it goes completely out of sync. The other controls do what they're supposed to. I'll show you the E to E adjustment, and we'll show you the color sync. I'll show you what they do on the screen, and this one does nothing. So this is the E to E adjustment. As you can see, it does affect the picture. If I go into playback, the sync control, the playback sync control, does affect that, but it's not locking in. This one is the playback level, which does work, and the time-based corrector, the TBC level, is not working at all. Now if I turn the TBC off, everything looks fine. The playback control does affect it. You see I'm overloading now. We want to see the picture show up without any on the stair step here, without any either crushing or overloading. That's right back where it was. Again, TBC on. It's not doing anything. And if I adjust the TBC control, that control that's not doing anything, does it do anything when the TBC is off? No, it doesn't. So when the TBC is switched on, that control that's the one that should be adjusting the input, but it's not doing anything. So something's going on with this TBC. We may have a bad chip on here. I'm just going to grab my thermal camera and we'll see if one of these chips is running away on us. I think it's a chip that's more than likely causing this problem. Okay, we got a bunch of chips on here that are hot, but one chip's hotter than the others, and that chip is measuring 130 degrees Fahrenheit. That's that chip there, and it is hot. That chip is quite warm to the touch, 130 degrees, much hotter than anything else on here. This is I bet you this is the one that's bad, and as it's sitting here running, the picture is actually becoming more and more stable as it gets hot. It's still not right, but it's not jumping around as much as it was before. But yeah, that chip is really hot compared to all the other ones on that board. Like everything else is cool. But we get over to this one, and this one here, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. That one there is 125. That other little chip here, this is also a warm one. But as you can see on there, that one's just glowing. Good chance this is where our fault is on this chip here. Here, look at one line now. This is TBC off and TBC on. You can see what's going on here. And that level control for the TBC the TBC playback has no control. So something's screwed up in this TBC. I'm thinking the chip, can't be 100% sure, but I'm thinking it's probably the chip that's bad. Plus the fact that it's getting so darn hot. I don't think they should be running at 130 odd degrees. That's, I mean, that's hot enough that you can't really hold your finger on it for more than a few seconds. It's uncomfortably warm. And normally when chips get hot, if getting hot is part of their operation, usually they would have a heat sink on it to keep the temperature down. but there's no heat sink on this, and that, say that chip is warm. So what we have is we have stable sync coming out of the TBC, but the video itself is not locking in. If I turn time-based corrector off, if I shift the drum speed slightly, you'll see that the video itself, everything changes because it's in the analog domain. If I put time-based corrector on, the sync is stable, but the video itself is not locking to the sync. So it's video sync going into the TBC is where our fault is. On what's going in here. So again, it takes me back to there's a fault somewhere on here, probably that chip, more than likely. I mean, if I had a service manual and I could probe and see what the inputs were and outputs, maybe it's not getting its reference. Maybe there's a, maybe the sync isn't getting into the chip, and that's why, or something in the chip itself has gone bad, and it's not locking up to the incoming video. It's just using its own internal reference. If you remember, they just kind of slapped this board in over here. They did the same thing over here. There's another board just floating in the breeze, just sitting in there. It's not secured in any way. It's just kind of just dumped in there. I wonder what that one's for. Another little bodge board. Oh, yeah, we forgot something. Let's just make a little board. We'll just stuff it in the front. Nobody will even notice it's there. I have to laugh because this is such an expensive machine, and this would have been a really expensive machine, and they do crap like that. I don't think that somebody did that. I don't think somebody servicing this did that. That was like that from the factory, as was this one over here. What a joke. Put this board into a slot or put some screws in it or something. I mean, what a joke. Junk, very cheap. Doesn't surprise me. When I put it in pause, of course, I can't get it. Everything has to go through the time-based corrector. It's using digital still, digital slow motion on this thing. So without the TBC working, yeah, the still images are going to suck big time. They're stable. It's just, yeah, they're stable, but you can't watch them. At this stage of the game, I'm going to put the cover back on here. I guess I should power it down before I do this. And put the TBC back into place because I don't think there's anything I'm going to be able to do to resolve this TBC error. I got to get a hold of the guy who already sent him a message, but let him know what's going on with this thing. As I say, he shipped it to me and it was dead. That's why he sent it to me. He said it's dead. Well, it's not dead anymore. It's I haven't tried recording. We're going to try that. We're going to try the recording on this thing. But it's not dead now, that's for sure. It plays fine if you turn off that time-based corrector. That might be what he has to do on this thing if he really wants to use this machine. He may have to use it without the TBC. I don't trust these edge connectors as far as I can throw them either. I think I'd like to plug a component source into this thing and plug it into a component on the monitor and see whether we can make a high definition recording from a component source. And I certainly have, I think I've got some devices that I can get component out of in HD, or even get my camera, HDV camera. It has component output on it. Plug that in and we'll see what the component does. I don't know if I gotta get a special tape for this. I would imagine it requires a WVHS tape. I wonder if there's little detection switches to detect the type of tape. I'm sure there are, and I'm going to have to determine if I have to drill a hole into an SVHS tape, for example, to trigger it. I want to try to make this thing think it's a WVHS tape. I don't know whether it works on an SVHS tape or whether you need a special tape. I'm going to try to make an HD recording. I think it will do it on an SVHS tape. I might be wrong. We'll see whether it will record on this or not. May have to have a DVHS tape. I don't know what the difference between them is. Is there additional holes that have to be drilled? I'm not getting an input. If I eject the tape, I can switch the HD input and I can get the output coming from my camera on the monitor. I got a HD picture coming from the camera here, I've got the unit now thinking that this SVHS tape is actually a DVHS tape by drilling some holes. I'm going to play back an HDV tape. And I've got it displaying on the monitor now. We're going to see if we can record this. This is an HD recording. Let's see whether this machine will enter the record mode. Record. Looks like the wheels are turning. So it looks like this machine is cruising along, recording an analog HD signal from an analog, well, digital camera, but I've got the component outputs, and it is now recording this. Is it going to play it back in high definition? I guess we'll find out whether it actually will record in analog on a Super VHS tape. So the moment of truth, let's stop it and let's play it back. Also, this tape is not it's not a real DVHS tape. This is a Super VHS tape that I've just told it that it's a DVHS tape. I don't expect the results to be perfect. In fact, I expect the results to be far less than perfect because, well, we're not recording on the right type of tape, for one. But I don't have a DVHS tape or a WVHS tape. DVHS was digital, right? That was the digital theater. WVHS, this was fully analog. It was designed for the Japanese Muse system. Although it would work here if you had say a cable box that had a 1080i output, it would record it. Which is what I'm doing. I'm recording a 1080i output from my digital HDV camera. And the picture of this is fantastic. This was my old aquarium. We'll just see how this goes. Yeah, and that's to be expected because again, the tape is not the right type of tape for this. That's probably as good as I would expect it to be, trying to record a high definition signal in analog on an SVHS tape. As I mentioned before, the actual WVHS and DVHS tapes were higher quality. In fact, they might have even been a metal tape. I bet they were metal. I've never seen one, but I bet they were a metal tape as opposed to an oxide tape, just like Betacam SP is a metal tape. And I bet you that's what they were. And I was correct. It's a metal tape that was used for WVHS and DVHS, and basically the same as a D9 tape. It's a metal tape. That's why it looked like crap when I tried to record on a regular oxide tape. What I did to make it think that it was a digital tape was I just popped open a little hole here. No, that's not getting into the tape. There's actually a compartment around here. But that's where the detection holes are there. And of course I had to cover up the S-video hole because otherwise it would read two sets of parameters and confuse the machine, and it wouldn't want to do anything. But how this records, it records very much like Betacam SP. Unlike conventional VHS and Super VHS, which the color is converted down and recorded under the luminance, they use a second pair of heads, and they use component time compression, very similar to how Betacam SP did it. They record, one head records the luminance signal, and then the second head records a second track with the chroma split into the red and the blue components, time compressed. Very similar to how Betacam did it. This was probably similar to how M2 did it as well, although I don't have any of those. This obviously ran at a slower speed. It didn't run at the type of tape speeds that that the broadcast equipment ran at. But it records. It recorded on a regular tape Be it looked like crap, it recorded. How cool is that? And here it is playing a Super VHS tape. Made on my machine, obviously. This source tape was recorded off of Betacam SP over the S-Video input. That looks pretty good. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do on this one. As the guy that owns it, I got to hear back from him what he wants to do. He's thinking he might buy another one for parts so he can steal the time-base corrector out of it, or buy one with a broken transport and switch the transports around. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. This one came in because it was dead. That was a power supply problem. Everything else seems to be working except for the time-base corrector, and well, that's the way it is. Needs a new TBC. Maybe if he gets one, if he picks up another one that has a good TBC in it, we can just swap the TBC over and be done. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.